Many do not know how to raise funds for their dreams. This can be quite a challenge. And if you don't know how to raise funds for your dreams, then the dream either becomes dormant or you're unable to fulfill. You're unable to carry out your purpose, your reason for starting the business. There are various platforms of funds for businesses, some more traditional than the other. Let us look at the sources of the funds. Number one, business grants. What do we mean by business grants? Some nations, some governments have business grants awarded to businesses to help maximize growth. And as we teach tonight, I want you to immediately begin to do research for those of you who are outside the United Kingdom, and those of you who are in the United Kingdom, do business grant research. Are there business grants in my country? Never say never. You might just be surprised that somebody had not tapped into it at all. Not all grants require repayment. Some grants are also spread out. We have someone on this platform in the United States of America who had just been given a business grant of about $1 million spread out over 30 years. Wow, that is so awesome. And to be paid off at a percentage no higher than 3 to 4%. If that person is smart enough to put it in some investment, it will therefore mean that the investment will pay the interest. That is an empowerment. The government of the United States made business grants available post-COVID. The person took advantage having filled the form. Not all grants require repayment. Some require repayment, but spread out like that. They will give you moratorium, that is the period which you will not pay, and then later they'll begin to collect. But let me tell you, most times when grants give you moratorium and they say, okay, the first 3-4 months, there's no payment, they will add it later. They can never allow free money. They will add it later. All right. So with business grants, this is highly competitive. So you have to understand that if you're going for a business grant, they will ask several people to apply. They may have $50 million. How do you become one of those who are successful? Please, again, if you were not with us when we did the shortcut business plan, go and get it from our site. Read through. It will help you in shaping, forming, putting together your argument, because that's what they look for. You can't use emotions. You have to convince the people who give the grant that truly there will be, 1, good stewardship of the money, 2, good returns on the money, 3, capacity building. And if it is a grant with the intent to create jobs, they would want to see how the fund matches the creation of jobs. If it is a fund to bring improvement to a community, they would want to see how it brings improvement to the community. Very important for you to get the business grant aspect ready, correct. You need to be able to put your case together very well. The number 2 source of funding for businesses is what is described as bootstrapping. Bootstrapping, more like you wearing your own shoes yourself. Self-funding, using what you have to fund a business. That is what bootstrapping is. In other words, not waiting until a bank empowers you, but you using what you have, because it helps you to control the directions of your business. This essentially has been one of the most major ways I have run business. At a particular time, I kept putting every monies I have in purchasing land and purchasing land and purchasing land. Every time I had some small money, I purchased land. Every time I had some small money, I purchased land until the land banking became such that it was large sums of land, purely from not borrowing from anyone, but just putting my little monies, buying in places which were not attractive at the time I bought. Particularly, there's a place where I bought land 30 years ago, 31 years ago. But now it's become a huge town, and suddenly the value of the land have spiked up. Debt-free because it was bootstrapped. And I didn't have to feel the fear of somebody wanting me to pay them back. It helps you to control the direction of the company. It helps to manage limited resources. So at the time I was purchasing, the amount looked so peanutish. It was so small. But then the value, honestly, had risen close to 1,000 times. Also, too, you may look at it from another point of view. A person who delayed their gratification 30 years ago, obviously, if they made their investment right, there should be a return. If I had taken the same money, if I had put it in S&P 500 like we have taught on this platform 30 years ago, obviously there will be some return. It may not be on the level of the value of the land that have gone up, but it certainly will return something to me. So bootstrapping may not look like a great source of funding for businesses, particularly if it's a small business. But listen, if you cannot yourself deny yourself and put your own resource, why should others help you? So bootstrapping helps you to manage limited resource. It may be more feasible than you think. You just heard my explanation. I kept buying those lands and buying the land. At the time I bought them in the Nigerian currency, because I bought it in Nigeria. I bought portions of land, acres of land, for as low as 50,000 to 150,000 for an acre. And today, the lowest we have sold the acre is 5 million. We got it 50,000 or 150,000. We sold it 5 million. The next stage we sold in the same place is 10 million for an acre. That completely changed everything, because now it meant that we were able to use the bootstrapping approach. It was a delayed gratification, but it had its benefits. It makes investors also to believe in you. If you told them, this place belongs to me, how did you buy it? You say, well, this is what I did over a period of 5 years, 10 years. I kept putting my own money into it. And that's how this value was created. It makes them believe in what you are doing. And they can see that if you can delay gratification for such, they should be able to believe in your dream. The next truth is that you do not walk away from a shared risk. Why? Because, can you imagine? I had denied myself of whatever I would have used that money for and kept buying that land. Now, as the value came, I was ready to wait. I was ready to keep paying the price. You never walk away from anything you have an involvement in. That's why in the United Kingdom, and I guess all over the world, when you want a mortgage, they will tell you you must put between 10 and 25% down. Because if they gave you 100%, they are the only ones who are carrying the risk. But if you put down 10%, so 10% of the risk is yours. If you put down 25%, 25% of the risk is yours. So if you want to do business, you must start with the bootstrapping approach. We need to see what you have used your own funds to do. The third, number 3, is pre-orders. And with this number 3, I like to counsel a good number of people that you listen to this very well. If you cannot raise pre-orders, It might be an indication of the need to market properly. What do we mean? So you want to sell a phone you invented, a phone you produced. You need to be able to convince people to buy it up front before it is available. Pre-orders help you to use OPM, other people's money. Pre-orders help you to see how the market reacts to the product you have. Pre-orders help you to also limit your risk. Many of us do not even realize that pre-orders are used around us every day. We wanted to have a Range Rover for myself. We went to the Range Rover office. We need a Range Rover. We filled the form. We had the money, but they said, no, we'll take deposits, and then your car will be ready in 6 months. What are you talking about? I thought Range Rover is advertising every day. They show us cars, thousands of cars in their car lot where they produced it. All the ones you are looking at were already paid for. You have to wait. They have to go and put your own together. So your order today is part of the order from somebody in the north, somebody in the west, east, south. So a total number of orders for the month. That gives them the picture if they should fire the engine to produce the tires, to produce the bonnet, to produce the mudguard, to produce the chassis of the engine. They now know from the orders that they have enough to be profitable if they produce it and make it available in 6 months' time. Also, the reason they will say 6 months' time is because, can you believe this? The brain of the car may have been produced in China. Today, when you drive a car, it could probably take so many countries. Can you believe it takes about 14 countries to produce a Rolls Royce? So when they say 6 months, they have to go and pre-order from all those places. Same thing with you. Please, if you are writing a book, if you can't get pre-orders, then what you should do is an ebook. Because with an ebook, your risk is limited. If you can't get pre-orders, you don't go and print 3,000 copies because 4 of your friends gave you a good feedback. And listen, the danger is that most times when we want a feedback, we're only likely to turn to the people we know, and they will only tell us the things we want to hear. And so we go and print, only to find that our store is filled with books. Pre-orders are a way to raise money. Elon Musk used the method to raise money for the Tesla car in the early days. They showed 1 car or 2, all electrics, convinced the world that they are ready to make it happen. The car was speeding, was running. They had put so much, they had put millions into producing that 1 car. Matter of fact, even though it was 1 car running, it cost them millions because of the robotics that needed to be able to do it, the kind of battery that needed to run the car, the kind of unique places to build, the mold, to create. And so from day one, they had 10,000 orders. 10,000 orders. And so with the money of those people, the 10,000 orders, they had the capacity to take off. And even that was still challenging, was risky. So please, pre-orders is a method for raising money. You want to create something people have not bought before, then to make this face towel, look for a way to convince people that pre-order. If they can pre-order and tell them allow, that's why when you order things, they say allow 28 days, allow 90 days to deliver. It is that they take your money and they go to the person who will produce part of it, and this one who will produce part of it. The other day, a well-meaning lady came with a whole package of, I think it's cocoa butter she had produced. It's a new thing among women in our community. Everybody says, I've just found a way to use shea butter. This one says, I've found a way to use cocoa butter. The other one says, I've found a way to use this butter, this oil, that oil. They go and they get the manufacturers who themselves are just excited for you to bring your money, and they order 500 sets. And somebody tells them, if you package it in a corporate way, it will sell. You could do all that by marketing it online, show what it will look like, let people pay up front, instead of you to have produced, to have packaged, only to find your house is full of cocoa butter, or shea butter, oil, which you're unable to sell. Online course providers use this a lot. They'll tell you, the number of people who pay for this course will determine when we run it, and they give you special opportunities. Then you pay for it, so they know how many people will participate in that, because they ask for a pre-order, a prepayment. They even give incentives. And so when people get to know about the course, they take advantage. But you see, until they have the pre-orders, they do not have a chance. In fact, that's why you find sometimes a whole course is canceled, because maybe the marketing was poor, or what they're trying to sell is not expected or needed, and they couldn't make a good sale. Pre-orders are very important that you consider if you have something new to the market. I've seen so many people in our community who go and create some perfume and say, oh, this perfume, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whoosh. The world of perfume is huge. Then they say, Beyonce created her own, Rihanna created her own. You don't have Rihanna's platform. You don't have Beyonce's platform. Have you ever checked? Just check for the people who follow Beyonce on social media, and you will see 80 million. 80 million. Now you just do the maths and say only 1% buying the product. 1% of 80 million is probably 80,000. So if she produced the material and it only cost her $1, because mass also means your cost reduces. If she produced with only $1 and she sold it $10, and she says, the first of my fans who buy this, I've already signed blah, blah, blah on it, and 80,000 bought. There's a profit already from day one. Then number two, because they are intense influencers, you find that certain marketers, companies want to take their business. So before you get to that point, you will need to build. That's why you need pre-order. Number four, and even they do pre-order. Number four, enroll for challenges and competitions. I'm not going to stay long on this one, but you never know. This might be a way somebody raised funds. You heard that anybody who writes the best book on this subject, they will get a $1 million funding. You might just win the largest amount of money at stake. Or somebody said, the best design, the best architectural design. We will look at it and put $5 million behind it. It's a way to raise funds. It is not always guaranteed, particularly if you have thousands and thousands who participate. It's always my feeling that the people who are the judges can't really finally go through each one. Sometimes when they do all the Grammy Awards, you could, and the Emmy Awards and all the awards, you can just tell once in a while, prejudice, hurry and localization may make them miss things. For a long time, the only films that make Grammy Award, the only music that makes Grammy Award was only America. Because whenever America does everything, they say we are the world, and they don't see somewhere else. It's a way to raise funds, but it's not the only one. Number 5 is crowdfunding. What is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding, basically, you created this phone, you want to raise money, you don't know where to find money, but you felt that if I make it available on social media platform, people will be able to buy. When the owner of a business describes it on the platform, the value of what people will buy, the profit they will get, the benefits they will get, customers can now participate. There had been a lot of crowdfunding for different ideas, for different visions and dreams people have come up with, which sometimes maybe the bank, the bank is one of the slowest, the most risk averse of all. They are very careful. They are very worried about their shareholders. So if you do a crowdfunding, it means that you put your product out there and you say, I'm looking for sponsors. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to do. This is the profit there. Anybody who puts this kind of amount, and it's amazing. Sometimes those who took the risk got the opportunity. They got the opportunity. Crowdfunding could be that somebody actually went from place to place and got people to do it. The crowd responds to the various benefit levels, which is created by this idea, and then they become part of it. It helps you to know if the product is needed. This is a good point. It helps you to know if the product is needed. Because you see, while you're doing the crowdfunding, people's attitude and response tells you if you are selling the wrong product or the right one, or you had put something out and there is an oversubscription. Whoa, that is huge. That is fantastic. For example, somebody was talking to me during the week about a real estate investment trust, which came out and was marketing some bonds and shares for its real estate trust, and they had an oversubscription. That tells you that there had been a desire for it. There had been a craving for it. So before you go crowdfunding, also make sure you've answered all the questions. If possible, sit down with people who will ask you all the questions, and do not get too emotional. The challenge with many of us is that we do not want our visions critiqued. And you cannot excel if your vision, your dream, your concept is not critiqued. You need to allow for someone to be able to say, have you noticed this area? This area is not clear. Did you work on this one? How will you handle this? I hope you realize that what you're about to do, this is your competition. And you cannot say, well, I don't care about the competition. You have to care.